my fellow freedom lovers, sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to LL3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida, and today's date is Saturday, December 26, 2020. And, I was just browsing through a couple things and try to examine some of the videos from reports from the Nashville explosion. And, of course, a few others are questioning it as well. Possible FBI connection, like talked about in the past, to Oklahoma City, World Trade Center, etc. And looks like it's going to be they found a potential suspect's home. But I want to be talking about that right now. And a few others as well. And this one here, it came from the Epoch Times. And this one's entitled FBI ATF Police Raid Nashville House, linked to Christmas Day bombing. And this is written by Alan Zong. All right. So as it says here, FBI and ATF on Saturday raided a house located in a Nashville suburb, linked to the Nashville downtown RV bombing that happened on Christmas Day morning. Home of interest is located at Bakertown Road in Antioch, a neighborhood approximately 12 miles southeast of Nashville, Tennessee. Various videos show that several federal and local agencies, including the FBI, ATF Police, and Metro Nashville Police Department, joined the raid. FBI Public Affairs Officer Daryl DeBusk told reporters on the scene that information developed during the course of the investigation had led the authorities into the home. DeBusk said no one's in custody for now. Public records show the house was previously owned by Anthony Q. Warner, an unmarried male. He recently sold the house on November 25th. A Google Maps image taken back in May 2019 shows a Chateau motorhome parked in the lot of the house of interest, which is similar to the photo released by Metro Nashville Police Department that reportedly exploded in Nashville downtown. The Epoch Times cannot confirm if the RV in the lot is the same as the one that exploded. It's actually the Ford, of course, it's a Ford motorhome. So it says here, it's unclear where Warner was living before the explosion. Several media outlets, including CBS News and the Tennessean, have identified Warner as a person of interest, citing sources from the law enforcement department. The Metro Nashville Police Department didn't immediately respond to the Epoch Times request to confirm the reports. The FBI refused to comment on reports of Warner being identified as the alleged person of interest. Special agents in charge of the FBI Memphis field office, Douglas Korneski, told reporters, at this point, we don't have any indication that we are looking for another subject. We do believe that are currently not active threats, he added. And of course, there's a video on that, of the explosion. An RV exploded at around 6:30 a.m. Central Time on Friday in front of 166 2nd Avenue North in downtown Nashville. The explosion shook the largely deserted streets of the area early Christmas morning, shattering windows, damaging buildings, and wounding 3 people. Authorities said they believe the blast was intentional. The motive behind this incident is unclear. I don't want to speculate, but he would think that this person didn't want to harm people, maybe just wanted to destroy, but we're not sure until we get further into the investigation. Metro Nashville Police Department Chief of Police John Drake said on Friday. Metro Nashville Police Department released a photo of the suspected RV on Friday. Police said later on that they found possible human remains at the explosion site. It's unclear if tissue belongs to someone, if the RV during the explosion, or another person. The police have yet to confirm if there were people in the RV during the explosion. The explosion, which happened at the back door of an AT&T building, appears to have caused huge damage to the building and brought sweeping communications outages in the Nashville downtown area. Police emergency systems in Tennessee, Kentucky, and Alabama, as well as Nashville's COVID-19 community hotline and a handful of hospital systems have been impacted and remained out of service due to the AT&T central office being affected by the blast. The building contained a telephone exchange with network equipment in it. The company has declined to say exactly how many people have been impacted. Flights out of Nashville International Airport were temporarily halted on Friday by the FAA because of telecommunications issues. They resumed with delays Friday late afternoon. AT&T said the company is working along with safety and structural engineers to restore power to the equipment at the damaged site, which has become their focus after the explosion. We continue to make progress in our restoration following this devastating explosion. We are completing our work as quickly as safely as possible. We are beginning to restore power to the facilities in the building after connecting generators through the walls. We are hopeful this equipment may be back online in the hours ahead, the company said in a statement on Saturday afternoon. The company refused to say whether Warner was an AT&T employee or contractor. It's from the Associated Press originally. So the whole thing is he is considered a potential suspect or person of interest. And I should have taken the initiative. I'm about to take the initiative and find out who is Mr. Warner's all about. We could probably look him up and in good faith, we'll just take it from there. But hey, can he be a possible scapegoat? Yeah. Or patsy? Yeah. If that's the case. Like I said before, because many people know what the FBI did in the past, some of their actions. And remember, J. Edgar Hoover was a Nazi sympathizer. So it's very a few questions. We'll just have to leave it from there. But like I said, don't always believe the hype of the media, mainstream media. So because we really don't know how accurate it is and all that. But many probably still say, like I said, like I did a show in my past episode, could it be another Fort Sumter, with Mr. Simon, and that's possible as well. I'm just, maybe I got comments, is the government's involved? Hey, I'm not disagreeing with you or not. So, I appreciate those people's viewpoints, because there's merit. A lot of it has merit based on past history or past practices. But we have to always, like I said before, pay attention and be ready. Prepare yourselves at the best of your abilities. Always remain vigilant regardless. Because some people say we're already at war. Cyber warfare and all that. So, a lot of claims on that as well, which I'm not surprised. Remember, New World Order 101. So you gotta say, think of New World Order 101 and what's going on here within our jurisdiction or United States. These United States. So, you just gotta, keep posted here, and we'll hit another one here from the Epoch Times. They're originally going to do this as my first one, but it says here, doctors report first adverse reaction to Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine. Zachary Steiber wrote this. It says here, came out today, by the way, was updated. A doctor in Boston reported this week the first adverse reaction to Moderna's newly approved COVID-19 vaccine. Dr. Hossein Sadzadeh, a geriatric oncologist at Boston Medical Center, got the shot on December 24th. Saturday. It's like Saturday almost. You know what you think about Saturday. Experienced an allergic reaction. 6-7 minutes after the injection of the vaccine, I felt my tongue and also my throat having like some weird sensations of tingling and numbness. The same reaction that I had before my shellfish allergy. He told CNN. Saturday, heart rate soared to 150 while his blood pressure plummeted. The doctor used an EpiPen that was nearby, and staffers rushed him to the emergency room, which was near the room he received the vaccine in. An email statement, the medical center confirms the incident to the Epoch Times. The employer received the Moderna vaccine Thursday, and is our standard practice was being observed post-vaccination by trained nurses. He felt he was developing an allergic reaction and was allowed to self-administer his personal EpiPen. He was taken to the emergency department, evaluated, treated, observed, and discharged. He is doing well today, the statement said. There is no mention on the center's social media pages or website of the incident. Moderna didn't respond to requests for comment. Thousands of people reported negative effects after getting Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine as of December 18th. Remember, Pfizer makes a Listerine, by the way. Okay? Antiseptic, so think about that, right? Moderna's vaccine was approved for emergency use that day. It says here, the Pfizer spokesperson told the Epoch Times in an email that the company is closely monitoring all reports suggestive of serious allergic reactions following vaccination and update labeling language if needed. The prescribing information has a clear warning precaution that appropriate medical treatment and supervision should always be readily available in a case of rare anaphylactic event following the administration of the vaccine, she said. At least 6 people experienced what are believed to have been severe allergic reactions or anaphylaxis after getting Pfizer shot. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC has not given an update on the number of self-reported negative reactions or documented cases of anaphylaxis. Like, good grief. Since then, a spokesperson told the Epoch Times via email on Saturday that the emergency is working on a plan for reporting adverse reactions to the COVID-19 vaccines. In updated guidance, the agency said anyone who experiences anaphylaxis should not get additional doses of the COVID-19 vaccines. The regimen is 2 doses per person across 21 days. Following, officials have advised anyone with a history of allergic reactions to any components of the vaccines not to get them, while people with a history of reactions to other vaccines of injectables should consult with their doctors before getting one of the vaccines. People with allergies to other things, such as pets or food, are encouraged to get a COVID-19 vaccine. Moncef Slaoui, chief scientific advisor for the Operation Warp Speed, said earlier this month that the CDC and the Food and Drug Administration is very, very carefully looking into the adverse reactions. Initial speculation was that polyethylene glycol, a component of both vaccines, could be the culprit. The number of adverse reactions is higher than one would think with the number of injections given. So Slaoui told reporters this week during a virtual briefing. Officials are discussing with the companies and the National Institutes of Health running clinical trials in very allergic subjects for instance, have an open EpiPen with them all the time or have significant reactions, to immunize them with this vaccine and potentially other vaccines and compare the rate of reactions, Slaoui said. That would include harvesting serum and blood cells to analyze the immune system status before after such reactions if they occur. I think this is the way to try to understand exactly the mechanism. He said, what is that provoking these reactions? It is a true anaphylactic shock. We're not clear that is the case. Sadzadeh, the doctor in Boston, told CNN he wanted to share about his case so people would know. I have to get the word out to people, he said. Addy, people should have the EpiPen with them if they have allergy reactions. So, if they have allergy reactions. So, something you always got to look at, right? Ooh, man. It's just, I don't know, my friends. Like I said, some of these vaccines, there's a lot of reports they have like fetal tissue, from aborted babies. That's why I'm not really too keen with these things. And possible potential of nanotechnology as well. Track and trace. But the whole thing, I'm not too surprised. I'm expecting some people may pass from this or just change their lives spiritually. And this is why I'm not too keen with vaccines. I always believed in natural remedies and medicines. Because Mother Nature is a lot more complex than what we know. Every infection has an Achilles heel. And that's how you got to look at it. That's why every place is different. Like you hear all these high cases of COVID-19 cases. How accurate are they? What are the merits behind it? Because someone did a swab, don't mean diddly squat. You could contain something, drink something, and you could find yourself you could be found positive, tested positive for COVID-19. Like drinking Coca-Cola, there's some stories in that as well. But I'm not too crazy about this. I'm expecting people to push back too on these vaccines. And like I said, I know too, Singapore was the first state or the first airlines to support it. I say boycott those bastards, plain and simple. They all want to follow the herd under the name of the World Economic Forum, New World Order platform. Hey, you're right. Some natural born, not a damn thing they can say. Even if some union officers that we have to take the COVID-19, they're misrepresenting you guys. You call them paper officers, as far as I'm concerned. Because remember, if you're a member of a union, you are honored as a human being, not a number to the system. How about Social Security? Yeah, it's understandable. We can say that, but make it more of a burden on your natural rights. So to give you some examples, not really too pleased with all this outcome. Oh, speaking of outcomes here, this came out from Reason, and it says here, suppressing hate speech on social media drives users to new platforms. And it says here, the more that big social media companies act like they can control what people say, the more competition they encourage. It's by J.D. Tuceli, okay. With German-style internet controls catching on all around the world and social media platforms increasingly targeting fake news and allegedly for expliciting hateful views, researchers have wondered just how those on the receiving end are responding to newly trendy censorship. What they they found should have surprised nobody. That people find ways to express themselves whatever they continue to be expressed through back channel and a new platform that can proliferate to meet new demand. And interestingly, not only we are seeing that the big social media companies are anything but monopolies, but more people, they act like they can control what people say and more competition they encourage. Moderation of hateful or radical content on social media has been a central point of discussion in the recent years. Arthur Klein of the European University Institute's Department of Political and Social Sciences wrote earlier this month in a piece citing research on the effects of censoring internet speech, yet much remains unknown about the decisions of platforms on how content is moderated and what the consequences are for mobilization on the radical right. Indeed, such moderation became a headline-grabbing topic in 2020, under pressure from a growing number of governments as well as from corporate advisors. Social media companies have restricted hate speech as well as fake news and other varieties of forbidden expression that can vary in detail from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. Inevitably, though, while social media companies have the right to apply any or no restrictions to their own services, descriptors like fake and hateful are open to debate. Klein observes that child pornography and terrorist beheadings are easy to identify, but when it comes to the moderation practices of removing hateful tweets or radical right pages, it is often more opaque why certain content is removed. That can be especially galling to many when moderation seems directed at speech that large numbers of people considered acceptable. That leaves lots of folks looking for alternative communication channels, and they are finding them. Censorship leads to various responses on the radical right. Notes Klein, migration to other platforms such as Parler is a common strategy. Parler in particular has gained a following among conservatives as they felt increasingly unwelcome on sites like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Fox News' Maria Bartiromo was just one of the high-profile figures to open a Parler account after Twitter ticked her off by flagging as disputed several tweets about supposed election shenanigans. She continues running both accounts. Other services have picked up refugees from mainstream social media. In the past, Gab, in particular, gained a following after big companies cracked down on racist neo-Nazis and the alt-right. But Maria Bartiromo isn't a neo-Nazi. She does not even on the radical right, to which Klein continuously refers. She is a Trump-supporting anchor for a major news network. As the researcher points out, the evidence suggests that over time, moderation has indeed become harsher, and is apparently pushing further into the mainstream of political discourse, driving a large wave of refugees to social media alternatives. Parler is surging, NBC News reported after the presidential election. It sits atop of the charts of app stores, boosted in a large part of supporters who agree with Trump's decision to continue fighting the results of the election in the courts and on the internet. As I write, the platform remains in ninth place among free social media apps in Google stores. Facebook is fourth, and Twitter is sixth. MeWe, as an alternative to Facebook, has also seen rapid growth since the election, at one point faster than according to Fortune. As Bartiromo's joint Twitter and Parler presence suggests, those flocking new platforms don't necessarily abandon the old ones. Often they maintain a more circumspect presence on Facebook and Twitter in order to maximize their reach. Actors do not shift their activities, but they also change their strategies. Remaining quiet, as an example, just using coded language to make a hateful speech more hidden and less obvious. That leaves social media moderators playing whack-a-mole with people who may be saying innocuous things, hiding forbidden speech behind euphemisms, or just screwing with them. If you ever wonder why some people now get upset over the OK hand signs, it's because it might be an expression for of support for white supremacy, a way of trolling censors, or just a quick, easy, and traditional way to indicate agreement. If it sounds like censorship is once again proving itself to be a losing proposition that threatens the free exchange of ideas without making the world a better place, you are certainly right. Instead of the impossible to achieve identification and suppression of awful thoughts, what we're seeing is moderators targeting ever more mainstream speakers in their search for forbidden speech in the process. They are also driving conspiracy theorists and flat-out loons of take refuge in ideological hothouses where their ravings go relatively unchallenged. Removing radical actors from mainstream platforms can, on one hand, significantly reduce their audiences, but it can also contribute to increased feelings of resentment and victimhood, forming a breeding ground for even stronger discontent, warns Klein. Independently and unmentioned by Klein, the spread of such Muslim beyond radical targets is not always an unintended consequence. Authoritarian regimes have eagerly adopted hate speech restrictions as a weapon against political dissidents. In a review of more than 40% hate law arrests, Reuters found that in each case, authorities intervened against Venezuelans who had criticized Maduro, other ruling party officials, or their allies, a news service reported last week. If tolerating range of ideas, good, bad, nutty, and indifferent, on diverse new platforms is the price we must pay to deny authoritarians easy means for suppressing their critics, then so be it. People always find ways to speak their minds in defiance of those who would control the conversation, and that's a good thing. Well, it's like I said, folks, it's a lot bigger than what it is. And what really gets me the most when I see these things, the people being banned, shadow banned, doesn't matter if it's Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, I just scratch my head. I'm like, what in the hell you think you're doing? You got your clowns out there. Who the hell cares? I don't need them. I select what I want to examine. I make my own judgment. I don't need their assistance. If people get offended, who cares? What's so egregious if you criticize a particular group? You're not telling them go kill them all. So I'm gonna kill somebody. That'll be a little bit different. But the fact is this: let these people speak their minds. And it's funny too because they consider like people like Alex Jones and David Icke, for an example. Why do you like these people or not? They consider them anti-Semitic hate speech. All that. Give me a break. It's just really ludicrous. And they're gunning for critical thinkers. That's how I see it. In the name of the war on terror, right? Please. Hey, bottom line is this. Never leave all your eggs in one basket. Spread them out. And I'm still looking for more social media sites to go on. And I've done this maybe about 5 years ago. Just prepare myself and observe. So I'm in good shape because, hey, if I get shadow banned on Facebook and all that, there's plenty of places you can go. Just type in Loki Luck the Third podcast. You'll find me. So it just really dawns what these Orwellian knuckleheads trying to make us feel better by censoring. Make us feel so safe. Please. All right. I'm going to do one more here. Came out a couple of days ago. It's written by John Friend from American Free Press, which, Facebook and Twitter don't want you to, they block them on their social media sites. Antifa, BLM, and urban guerrilla warfare. A document critical of Antifa and Black Lives Matter, distributed and later abandoned by a prominent law enforcement training group, has outraged the radical left, their supporters, and their all-too-willing enablers in academia, the controlled corporate media, and big tech. The International Law Enforcement Educators and Trainers Associations, or ALETA, that's the acronym for it, a membership-based association of professional educators and trainers of law enforcement agencies and personnel across the world, is committed to the reduction of law enforcement risk through the enhancement of training for criminal justice practitioners, according to its official website. The respected association distributed a document entitled Understanding Antifa and Urban Guerrilla Warfare, an October email newsletter and member update, noting that the document was restricted to law enforcement only. AFP was able to secure a document of the report before it was removed from ALETA's website. Harvey Hayden, the director of ALETA, explained to his reporter in a recent interview that the controversial document in question was the research product of an ALETA member and not statement of policy or support by the association. and what the association welcomes the exchange of ideas, techniques, and opinions on training. The Associated Press was informed of the document by a member of Alita. It triggered outrage from a number of left-leaning academics and organizations who were particularly upset with the frank critiques and straightforward characterizations of both the BLM and Antifa movements, whose supporters and activists have engaged in wanton destruction, violence, criminality, and terrorism across the country in recent years, largely with impunity. The document accurately describes Antifa and BLM as revolutionary movements whose aims are to overthrow the U.S. government, and insists that the groups have no intentions to negotiate or compromise. It goes on to allege that both Antifa and BLM are front for Russia and China, which receiving funds from subversive international elements, including George Soros, which trickles back to the Democrat Party. Additionally, the documents argue that no law enforcement agency at the local, state, and federal level is keeping records on Antifa BLM groups and activists. Meanwhile, law enforcement agencies at all levels are overly focused on right-wing and so-called white supremacist groups and organizations encouraged and manipulated by blatantly dishonest organizations such as Anti-Defamation League, which has distributed extremely inaccurate information on the right-wing groups while praising Antifa and BLM. Remember, my friends, the Anti-Defamation League lies about militias, gun control, and Judaism. You can ask any ADL member this, or the head on clowns in that globalist organization. Can you explain to me why you folks never challenged Aaron Zellman, who was the founder, late great Aaron Zellman, the founder of the Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership, on an honorable debate on militias, gun control, and Judaism? I emailed it to them a couple times. They never responded. I wonder why. Ginos, that's what they are, Jew in name only. Despite many of the objectively and factually accurate assessments presented in the document, left-leaning academics and organizations have announced the document and pilloried Alita for daring to distribute it, which was done in an effort to discuss and debate law enforcement training issues, Hedden noted. Philip Abita Goff, a professor at Yale University and the CEO of the Centering for Policing Equity, described the document as dangerous and distressing to Associated Press before insisting it untethered to reality. Oh my goodness, we can't use that. We may offend the Orwellian snowflakes. Who cares? I worry that it leads people to die unnecessarily, Goff hysterically asserted. Scott Roberts, the senior director of criminal justice campaigns for Color of Change, a left-wing racial justice organization created to a less hostile world for black people in America, urged police departments to cut ties with Alita. Sharice Nelson, an assistant professor for political science at Southern University and AMN College, who studies black political movements, denounced this misinformation and conspiracy theories, promoted in the document, urging that the claims about Antifa and BLM are widely outlandish and that they promote violence and dehumanize others. Hayden commendably defended the document when interviewed by the AP, insisting that it was merely the opinion of a member of the organization and was open for debate and scrutiny. Hedden went on to explain that the Alita supports the exchange of ideas and strategies to improve criminal justice training, but does not endorse specific approaches, according to the AP. He noted that, like law enforcement, many other criticisms of BLM must be justified, while others are overgeneralizations. Alita received a number of threatening emails and phone calls accusing us of supporting the conclusions in the document, which is a falsehood. Hayden explained to this reporter, we do support freedom of expression and exchange of ideas. It is apparent that this is a subject of which we cannot be sorry about that. Cannot be rational. In which there cannot be rational debate, and we will therefore cover other subjects of training that will not interfere with our mission. Well. Interesting there because, hey, as far as I'm concerned, you can say whatever the hell you want. That's how I look at it. As long as it's like discussions, honorable discussions. Every movement has their pros and cons. But based on what I've been examining, the head leaders, especially from BLM, and even Antifa, they're no more than communist sympathizers. Marxist fools. And they're funded by the big bankers. They hate capitalism. Oh yeah, but when it comes to central banking, yeah, give me that money. If you get funded by multinational corporations, yeah, bring that money. What a bunch of hypocrites. Each and every one of you that are in these movements. I think it's great what Alita did. Hey, you gotta learn to dish it out. If you want to dish it out, you better learn to receive. If you're offended, who cares? Deal with it. Because the whole thing is, my friends, movements like them, are wearing no clothes. I treat them just like the Ku Klux Klan, the neo-Nazis, any diversified organizations or movements. No exceptions. I get all tyrants equally. So I like it. I love free speech. If you don't like it, leave. Because here's one thing. If you're going to overthrow the government, what's going to happen? The ones you try to represent will stab you in the back. Plain and simple. Not more than a bunch of expendable fools. And the truth does hurt. Deep down inside, you know I'm right. There's not a damn thing you can do about it. And you know what? That will be it. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or something that's interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondence with decorum. Furthermore, I'll leave the footnotes of these articles on my Spreaker page. And if you want to contact me, you can hit me at localluck3@gmail.com or LokiLuckNumbers03@protonmail.com. If you want to do a donation, you can hit me at paypal.me/LokiLuck3 and cash.app/$LokiLuck3. Support the other sites as well. That'll be greatly appreciated. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.